Welcome to Peace in the Valley, where adventure starts at home.
Hello everybody. I just got back from a family reunion with my family and I was so glad to get to see all of them. And my grandfather, his two sisters were at this family reunion, and I want to share with you a little bit of an interview that we got to have together. So I hope you enjoy it. Living through some of their lives just a little bit. It's only about a half an hour, maybe a little bit longer. But it gives you a little bit of my past. It also tells you a little bit about our future too when we look to our past, because obviously that's where we came from. So we thank you for watching, and don't forget that what we learned from our grandparents, our parents, is a wisdom that is passed down along with our faith in Jesus Christ. I thank you so much all for just giving me your story. Thank you very much, and I hope this is good for our families and our children to come. Have a great day. Okay.
Preston?
I am going to record, so let's keep it down a little bit. Okay. I am Bryce Steiner, and I am here to interview some old people. So, okay.
Thanks a lot.
Anyhow, this is my family, and we are going to post this on the internet when we're all done. But it's going to be on my at least my YouTube channel, maybe elsewhere. But it's part of Peace in the Valley is the name of it. And right now, I have with me, we're going to talk about your growing up experiences. So, I have Aunt Jo, right? Grandpa. That's just your name, Maurice. And Aunt Eileen, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's make sure. So, let's start here. When were you born?
1932.
1932. And when were you born?
1922.
1922. So, how old are you now?
99.
99. So, that's pretty good. And
I was born in 1927.
1927. What do you remember about growing up when you were young? Do you remember when your sisters were born?
No, except
Were you the oldest?
Dad took us out to the barn, and because they were all born at home, and then we come in the house and we found a new baby.
You came in the house and found a new baby. The stork just magically showed up.
Yeah,
What was your parents' names?
Hiram and Lula.
Lula, okay. When were they born?
1899. Mom was born in 1899, and Dad was 7 years older than she was.
So the early 1890s? Early to mid 1890s?
Figured out.
Okay. Well, I remember great-grandma, because I remember going to the reunions at a bank.
Yes.
And then somebody locked some kids up in the elevator. Kara.
Well, somebody got caught
In the dummy waiter.
Yeah.
And we found out who the dummies were. But anyhow, what was your parents were Lula and Hiram. Where did they come from?
What do you mean?
Where did they grow up at?
Oh, my mother grew up in Pandora, Ohio, and
Columbus Grove?
yeah, they were lived at Columbus Grove first, and then moved to Pandora.
What was her maiden name?
Basinger.
Basinger. Okay. Okay.
And my dad was born, well, as far as I know, they lived it was close to between Bluff and Pandora on a farm there.
Okay.
Close to the Ebenezer Mennonite Church. They were
Ebenezer
members of that-
Mennonite Church?
They were members of that church.
Okay.
No,
They were
no,
members.
they were,
Not at that time.
no, the Reformed Mennonite Church.
Reformed Mennonite Church, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Reformed Mennonite Church, yeah. And as far as I know, my grandpa belonged there. My grandpa Steiner belonged there.
Okay.
And then later, my mom and dad joined the church.
When did the family come over from Europe? The families, I should
I
say.
have no idea.
Do you know, like, was it their parents who immigrated?
It's farther back than that.
Okay. Do you remember your grandparents?
Yes.
What were their names?
Rufus and Sophia Basinger.
Basinger?
And before that, her dad was a Shane.
Yeah.
Shane.
I don't remember his first name.
And then it was Grandpa and Grandma Steiner, who were,
That's the same names I always went by.
I remember my grandpa Steiner. He always wore a little goatee.
Well, what was Hiram's occupation?
Well, he farmed.
Was that his only occupation?
Well, as far as I know, he worked after they sold the farm. He did different jobs. He ran an egg route in Pandora for a while, and he picked up chickens and picked up eggs, and I don't know what else he done until
he was an
retired.
excellent at fixing clocks, and he made us kids all a grandmother's clock.
So he made grandfather clocks, grandmother clocks?
Smaller, they were the smaller clocks. He made us, each of us kids got a clock.
Do you still have them?
Yes,
Absolutely.
No, I do, yeah.
You all still have them? Okay.
And mine still runs too.
That's mine.
Really?
Yeah.
It runs better than you do.
Probably all last week.
I think the tag inside said it's made in '64.
1964? Can you tell me, do you remember, did you always have a vehicle? Did you always have a car?
I remember we had a horse and buggy at first.
You remember having a horse and
then we had
buggy?
a Model T Ford.
Okay. So, was it a used Model T Ford or a new one?
It was a Model T Ford, probably a used one. And it had isinglass windows on. And it wasn't closed like they are now.
So it was more like the
And then
buggy.
Very seldom run it in the wintertime, and it wouldn't start.
Okay, wouldn't start in the winter.
No.
Did you make your own fuel? Or you didn't grow your own fuel? And okay, okay. But both of you always remember having a car. Is that right?
Yeah, but it wasn't that far back. I remember a Chevy that we had and a Dodge, and I don't remember a Model T Ford.
Okay. Okay.
He's older than I am.
What? Okay. Okay. What year did where did you go to church? What do you remember at the earliest when you can about going to church? Did you always go to the Mennonite church?
No. We had two ladies and their brother lived north of us, and they would pick us up and take us to the church. That was the Church of God. That would be right south of us, and that's the first member of going to any church.
So they picked you up as kids to go
Yeah,
to church?
as kids.
Did your parents not go then?
No.
Okay.
No children.
Do you, okay. And what kind of clothing?
Fulweiler sister.
Yeah.
What kind of clothing did you wear when you were little? Was this hand sewn, or where did your clothing come from?
Everything I ever had, Mom made
Yeah.
in those days.
I don't remember
She was very good at it.
much of anything. We had pants that come down to our knees, and then bib overalls, but they were long.
Now, what did you farm with? You said you were farmers.
Well, I remember the horses we had. We had horses and also a Fordson tractor.
That was probably when you were older, though, was it? Or
As long as I remember, we had the tractor.
okay, so you had a tractor before you had a car.
About the same time.
Same time.
And we had the car first. I don't know.
Was it a package deal? You buy a Ford Model T, you get a Fordson tractor?
No.
Oh,
I remember both of them together, but which was first, I don't know.
Well, the tractor was a crank tractor. He
Yeah,
broke his arm on it.
Yeah, well, that Fordson we had something like 16 years.
and was it easy to break an arm?
When she tried to crank it,
Yeah. And then, well, the tractor, you know, if you wanted to start, you always had a prayer.
If you wanted to start, you said a prayer
And
first.
you never run in the wintertime, but it wouldn't start. Then other times, it was hard starting.
Do
Yeah.
you remember when they got their Alice Chalmers
Yeah.
tractor?
And then when my grandpa Steiner died, Dad took his inheritance and bought this Alice Chalmers tractor plus a plow. And we thought that was something, that was amazing. But it had steel wheels on it.
Okay, and steel wheels.
You know. I remember going to plowing demonstrations, and the Ford had rubber tires on. The only tractor that had a rubber tire. The Ford had rubber tires for the mounted plow.
Yeah.
And Dad couldn't buy a rubber. He think that rubber tire wasn't that thing. So he bought this steel wheel tractor with rubber tires on front.
Oh,
And he'd plow with it, come to the end, and then that tractor didn't want to turn until he hit the brakes.
now that wasn't a steam-powered tractor? That was
Oh
gas.
no, gas.
Okay. What color was your cars growing up? Did you have a certain color of car you had to have?
When Mom and Dad joined the Reformed Mennonite Church, they always had black cars
Why did they have black cars?
because that was their belief.
Okay.
Nothing.
my dad bought a car that had a white, the top was white, the bottom was black, and he immediately had the top painted black.
Really? Okay. Did that affect anything? I mean, was he told he needed to, or did he just do it on his own?
I don't know.
Okay.
I think that was Bishop's rule.
There was a talking to. So, when did you join the church? When did your parents join the church?
Before you were born.
Lois talked about it, so she knew about it.
Now, I remember joining the church,
Then
but I remember my grandma would came out and made dresses for my mom, and my grandpa took my dad and got a suit. They were had their own special suits, their own special dresses, bonnet, cap, and all that.
Did your grandparents always go to church? Were they part of the Reformed Mennonite before your parents were?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But my grandpa was, but I don't remember any of the other brothers and sisters.
Okay.
My grandpa Basinger, my grandma Basinger, never remember.
Tell me about your other three, because there was 6 siblings altogether, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me about the other siblings that you have.
Oh, my 2 brothers, one was just a little older than I, and we got along really well.
What was his name?
Eugene.
Eugene, okay.
And my other brother was Lauren, and they both died in their 40s. They were both smokers and died in their 40s.
Okay, okay. That, and then there was, who else do we have?
Lois.
And Lois, okay. And when were they all born? When was Eugene and
Eugene was 1931.
Maurice, Lauren, Lois.
Lauren would have been, you were
2 years younger.
So he was born 24, 1924, and
Lois was 25.
Lois was born.
And then Joanne and Jean, you and Jean were 31, 32.
okay. And what do you remember about school? Like, did you like going to school?
What loves her?
You loved school?
I got along well in school. I liked the sports. Played football 4 years.
You played football?
And I was on the varsity team for 3 years.
But the football
Yeah.
went on right after school, and the buses waited there and took us home after the football game. So Mom would give Gene and me, I don't know what you did with you guys, Mom would give Gene and me each nickel to get a candy bar or something after school to buy the football.
Wow, you guys were spoiled.
Yes.
We always rode
They
the
were.
school bus.
The youngest always are.
They are.
What any unique stories that you remember, Eileen?
I know when we kids got ready for the bus, you know, it took a while to get all six ready. And we kind of one would go out and they'd be ready, the next one and the next one. And the bus driver had to wait until all six of us got out to the bus. And one guy asked Maurice what he had for breakfast this morning, and he said mush, and he gained that as a nickname.
What was a typical meal like for you?
Beans.
Beans? Do you eat lots of beans?
We always had meat.
Potatoes.
Yeah.
Meat, potato, great.
Okay, a good German.
Pie. We always had pie.
Always had pie? Wow. What kind of pie?
Anytime.
Well,
Whatever's in season.
Mom would make pies and cakes and
Cookies.
bread on Saturdays.
Okay.
Also, when Mom always had usually filled a pie at noon, and her and Dad would eat at noon, and then when we kids come home, we'd have one little sliver of pie. That we got off the bus, we could look forward to a sliver of pie to eat.
What was your favorite pie that Lula made?
All of them.
All of them. So,
She was a good cook.
good cook. What kind of bread did she make?
White, usually.
Okay.
There wasn't any, I don't think she ever made
Wasn't special breads?
No, no.
Okay.
it wasn't out of the box.
Remember the biscuits? That she always had biscuits that way. She baked bread, then she made biscuits for some. Made hot biscuits for dinner.
You had quite the parents.
And sometimes we'd have cocoa wheats for breakfast, and there'd be some left over. And Gene and I would eat cocoa wheats for our snack after school, and we loved it.
Cocoa
I
beans.
didn't know I didn't know there was such a thing.
Really?
That must have been Gene and me.
It must have been you and Jean, because I never had coffee.
Youngest always gets what they want. What can you tell me? What do you remember about your birthdays? Like, did they throw big parties?
What parties?
I don't know. Not. It was just another day. Did you get gifts for your birthday?
Well, my grandpa would give us $1 sometimes.
I don't think we ever had much. All I know is if we didn't get out of the house in time and away from the boys, we got smacked pretty hard. We girls. And we didn't get away from Lauren and Morris. We got pretty well.
You mean Morris and Lauren was back?
Oh, if I was 6, I got 6.
Oh, for birthdays.
5.
Oh, birthdays you're talking about.
Yeah, for birthdays.
What were we talking about?
Yeah, we were talking about birthdays. So, okay, what do you remember about Christmas mornings? Or, like, was that your big holiday?
It's cold in the house.
Well,
When Gene and I, when we'd each have a stool, and we'd put a plate on it, and then the next morning there'd be some hardtack and some apple, maybe an orange, and maybe one toy. What's this kind of toy that pops up?
Jumping jack.
Something, I don't know, some little toy.
Yeah.
That's it.
It, like you turn and then it pops up. You remember getting that for Christmas one year? Yeah.
One year we got wagons, little wagons, didn't we?
You did, maybe.
If we got
And
something
you
from,
got dolls too, didn't you?
Well, one time I was supposed to get a doll, and my mom was going to make clothes for the doll that day, and I got sick, and she had to come to school and get me. So she had made clothes later than that.
How big was your classes at school?
mine were 27 when I graduated. I don't know how, but they were always like a grade and a half. Like it was first grade and half a second, and then second grade, half a second and third, and that type of thing. When we got to high school, I had 27 in my class.
Okay.
Well, I might say, that I don't know how the boys did. They did well, but Eileen and I were both valedictorians, and Lois was salutatory in her class.
Really? So the
Or
girls,
else.
the girls were smart.
The
But
boys
or else.
did well too.
Oh, okay. Or else.
Or else.
Yeah.
You study or else.
And we had kerosene lights to study by.
Kerosene lamps that you had in your house.
And we never had electricity.
When did you get electricity?
Never did, as long as I was home.
When we moved to Pandora, the department of Pandora, that's the first time.
Yeah,
Oh, no, we had electricity out the
When did
shower
okay?
place.
When did you move to Pandora? What year?
I was, well, we moved to the Sharber place, which was closer to Pandora. Gene and I changed schools, and they were already gone.
You were freshman. You were
And I was a
eighth grader.
7th grader, and Gene was an 8th grader when we moved first to Pandora School and then into
Were you already married?
No, I was in the service,
You were in the
but
service.
I wasn't married yet.
Okay. But that's when you first got electricity, was when you moved into the town. They
I
didn't.
never lived there. When
They didn't, it was Gene and me.
Oh, okay. You didn't have electricity either.
when I was a senior in high school, the mom and dad moved. So I went to live with Dr. King's in Mount Quarry so I could finish my senior year at Mount Quarry.
Oh.
I didn't move with them when I came.
The landlord sold the farm. That's why, and my dad had public sale, and that's why he moved.
When he sold the farm, he wanted Dad to buy it for $100 an acre. My dad said he could never afford that or could never pay for it. And a few years ago, the land just north of us sold for $10,000 an acre.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the going rate nowadays. That's actually on the cheaper end, I think.
Well, that was several years ago.
Several years ago, yeah. So, what happened after you went into the service? When did you meet your wife? Can you tell us her name?
Lois Marie.
Lois Marie. You went into the service. Did you know her before going into
Yes.
the service?
Yeah.
How did you meet her?
Oh. Another fellow and I, he went to school, classmate, and he wanted to meet her, he wanted to talk to this girl, and she worked for Aunt Lydia. So I went with him and talked to this girl, and that's when I first met her. But nothing, because I was going with another girl, found out the two girls worked at the meter works in Bluffton.
Yeah.
And then this girl and I, we kind of broke up, and I'd been working in Lima at the machine shop. And I don't know, the place I roomed at, there was a girl walking down the sidewalk with two babies. I really want to know her. come and talk to her, and there was Lois. She was staying with her sister Maxine, and I was just a block from her. And the two babies were Maxine's girls. So, I don't know, I went to service then. I don't know, we corresponded. I guess we kind of hit it off.
Well, that's good.
And she broke off with this fella, because I think I had one date before I went to service. And she, I don't know.
You were quite the ladies'
man. She
man.
double dated me for a while.
she was figuring out if you were going to work out or not.
Anyway, I remember one time I was in Lincoln, Nebraska. I wanted her to come out. We'd visit. Well, her girlfriend said, "You better not. You're getting into trouble." So we telephoned them, and I spent as much money as I could have brought her out there. Then I got transferred to Lima to Canoe Field, which is south of Chicago. Went to school there, and to get a weekend pass, I wasn't supposed to go to Lima, but I went to Lima, and then I went to Chicago, then over to Lima. Spent the day with her, and then come back. And then one of the trips we got married.
Oh, so it was. Did anybody know you were getting married?
Not until about the day we got married.
Now I know where my son gets it.
And we got married the next. And Maxine fixed it up for us.
When did you get married? What was the date?
Oh, we got married in 1943 and May the 18th.
Okay. And let's Aunt Eileen. How did you meet your husband? What was his name? How did you meet him?
Darrell Amstutz, and we met in high school. And we got married right out of high school. Graduated in 45. Got married in June of 45, July of 45. And he left for the Navy then. And then the war was over. The Second World War was over. And so they dismissed a lot of them, and they didn't go ahead and finish their training. So we got married.
Was he considered a World War II veteran?
No, he really didn't. He just got in. He just got 6 weeks of basic training,
and then they said go home. Well, that was good for him.
Well, in a way, because when you try to find work and all of the people are coming from the war that get tired, work is kind of hard to find.
Okay.
You know, the soldiers were coming home, and and I understand, they got forced bids on most of the jobs. And of course, there was no more need for all the
artillery,
military and that. So it was pretty rough.
Oh, really? They don't write that in the history books too much. They always talk about the Great Depression, which we'll talk about that in a little bit. Where did you, Aunt Jo, where did you meet your husband, and when?
Edward Ranke, and I was 16, and we met at the skating rink in Findlay, right by the old Mill Street.
Okay.
When you know the song?
When did you get married then?
And we got married August 12th of 1951.
1951. Okay.
And I went down. He was in the Air Force. He and his brother enlisted in the Air Force because his brother was going to be drafted. Mm-hmm. So I said, well, let's go join the Air Force. And so they did.
Was that for the Korean War then?
Well, he was in, I think it was the tail end of World War II. It kind of ran into Korea and he got extended.
Okay.
So.
Okay. And let's go back. What do you remember about the Great Depression? Could you see a huge difference from you weren't born during this, so you wouldn't remember it.
Well, I told my mother that I was born in 1932, and that's when things started to get better. as I was born.
Yeah, as you were born, yeah. What do you what do you remember about the Great Depression? Did it affect you here?
All I can remember what's been told, because we always had plenty to eat, and we went to school, and
Did you raise most of your own food?
yeah,
And then did
We
you
had a
sell the
garden.
rest of the food?
we had eggs, and sold eggs or cream, we had cream, whatever we needed.
Did you have any livestock?
Oh yeah, we always had milk
Milk cows?
chickens, eggs.
Yeah.
That's okay.
So, okay. And what about that bed that we have in our van right now that Grandpa Hiram made? Who was that made for? That baby bed?
I don't remember.
Lauren, they said it was made for Lauren.
Lauren, okay.
Because see, Maurice was born in 22 and Lauren was born in 24.
Yeah.
So he was still in his crib. So they needed another crib.
Okay.
I know it's a little white, kind of crib is it that you have?
I don't know. I'm not sure how you describe it. It's like
What
this
is
big.
It's a standard size crib.
With, does it have wheels on it?
Yes.
I always wondered where it was.
Okay. Well, it just came to our possession today.
Oh, really?
It's in our van right now. So if you want to see it, you better look at it now. Okay. So was my grandfather, Maurice, was he nice to you too? Now that he's out of the room, you can speak freely?
Oh, yeah. We got along.
Okay.
It wasn't. Some days were better than others, but it was that.
So he was a good guy.
There was so much difference in our age that we didn't pay much attention to each other. I was close to Jean. There were 4 older kids and 2 younger kids.
Okay.
That's the way it was.
Kind of almost separated, a gap there.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got along. I mean,
Yeah.
you were busy. You milked 2 cows before you went to school in the morning.
Yeah. Did you have to help milk cows?
She didn't. I did.
You did.
She didn't do anything.
Okay, well, I'm hearing it now. Well, okay, you had a great life. By the time you were come along, the parents had already done well financially, ready to retire. It sounds like.
Well, I wouldn't
Not
say
so.
well, but
Did you have to ever do anything with the animals?
I petted my cat.
Okay, maybe you were right. You didn't have to milk the cat, did you? Okay.
We milked cows. We just fed the calves. Like I say, I'm not sure that she did much of anything.
I think I did some milking because I remember squirting the cat in the face with the milk from the udder of the cow. That was fun.
We fed the calves that way.
Fed the cats that way?
No.
Yeah.
She didn't milk cows before she went to school in the morning, I'm sure of it.
Did you
What was the time I think it?
Did you both, when you hit the age of driving, did you drive right away? And I mean, was that an issue back
She's got a
then?
story about that.
Well, let's have a story.
Well, my brother, her brother, Gene, my youngest brother, you know, they have these tow trucks or things that they put under machinery to wheel them from one place to the other. And Gene broke his finger, and so he could not do anything. And so my dad said, my brother Gene was driving. He was 4 years younger than I am. My brother Gene was driving. Dad was letting him drive, and he said, Dad said, well, you know, his hand won't do that. I said, it's sure funny that his hands will fit around the steering wheel, but it won't fit around the coast yet. And I got to drive, and by that time I was 16. So, and my older sister, the one between us, the one older than I am, Lois, did not learn to drive when we were little.
Okay.
Dad did not want girls to drive.
So did you get your driver's licenses?
I did, but only because my mom taught me to drive.
Really? Okay. So your mom was all for you driving. Did your mom drive?
Yeah, she drove.
Okay.
And she even drove pharmacy for Dad. You know, like tractor sometimes and stuff like that. But
I remember when we were combining, and I got old enough to, it was on a wheel behind the tractor, so Mom drove the tractor, and I got to do
Trip the
something
bale.
with the combine,
trip the bales.
whatever I did.
Yep.
And then they had to shock the wheat.
Yes.
And one time, she was out shocking wheat, and Darl came, and so Darl shocked wheat while she went in and got cleaned up, and then they had a date.
She forgot to drop the bales in a row. If you drop the bales in a row all the time, you only had just a little ways to go to get all your bales ready to drop. If she wouldn't triple when she was supposed to, you had bales dribbled all home. You had to go pick up.
I thought I was doing a fine job.
You did when you were awake.
So you got your driver's license before you were married.
Yes.
When did you
I
get
was
yours?
16.
16. So you both got it.
Yes. but
Did
my-
you have any problem from the government telling you weren't allowed to get them because you're female? Was there any issues like that?
No.
Were you ever denied employment at all?
No.
No. Okay. And were you stay-at-home mothers?
Yeah, till my
Part-time or?
till my kids, my youngest one was in the first grade, and then I worked at the cafeteria in Pandora, and then I went to Buffalo College and got my degree in teaching, and I taught for 24 years.
24 years. Where did you teach at?
Right
In Pandora. And what about you?
Right out of high school, I went to work at Marathon in Finley.
What was Marathon? Like the
Oil
gas
company.
station? Oil
Marathon
company?
Oil company.
Okay.
And when we got married then, I went down to New Mexico, and when I got back, I went back to Marathon and worked. But when you were 5 months pregnant, you had to tell them and be let go. There were a lot of babies born early in those days. But anyway, after that, I stayed home with the kids until Philip was 3 years old, the youngest one, and then I started college. And then when he was in the first grade, I went full-time and got my teacher's degree and taught for 24 and a half years.
24 and a half years. So you both went and retired from teaching? Where did you teach at?
At Riverdale,
Riverdale. Where's Riverdale?
Mount Blanchard.
Okay.
We're going to
Okay.
Blanchard.
Yeah.
Well, I was offered Arlington, but I didn't want to teach at the same school my kids were in. I didn't want to know about them.
They were probably thankful too.
Probably.
And how many kids did you have?
5.
5 kids. You want to name them all?
Kevin, Dean, Karen, Greg, and Philip.
Okay. And what about you? How many kids?
3. Ron, Diane, and Kenneth.
Okay. Grandpa, they told a lot of secrets. So you have to answer some of these questions,
Okay.
just like in Jeopardy.
This will be
So think of me as Alex Trebek, just better looking. Okay. They told me how they had their kids. They got their driver's license at 16. They helped out on the farm. What about you? What did you do after the Navy, or after the Army, or you were Air Force?
I was in there.
Air Force. What did you do after the Air Force?
I bought a farm.
Where at? Angola. And were you married while you were in the
I
service?
got married when I was in the service.
Okay.
And Maurice was born. So was Sam while I was in the service.
And what did you do after service? Did you immediately move to Angola?
Yeah.
Okay. And did you just farm or what?
I I just farmed until, children, things got a little tough, so I started working. I worked in a dairy where they bought milk. And then later on I worked in Montpelier where I made truck bodies. And then I got a chance to get in the post office. So I stayed in the post office 30 years.
30 years, so you retired from the post office.
I sorted the mail, run the window.
What year did you retire?
I think it's 1984.
Say it seemed like it was 1984 to me also, but when did you both retire? I know you said you worked at both teaching for 24 and a half years. What year?
92.
1992?
1997.
1997. So you guys have had long retirements.
We did 65, I think.
65?
Yeah, I have now retired, drawn retirement longer than I taught,
Yeah, that.
which is not, I bet they're working on me.
They're waiting to collect some of that inheritance back. No, that's great. Well, Grandpa, you've been retired since '84, so that's 35 years now.
He's
Is that? I mean, yeah, 37 years. So, because this is in 2021, so you've been collecting your retirement for longer than you've worked. Also, you sold the farm in 1985. Is that right? What is that when the auction
I
was?
sold it in 1990.
1990.
Yeah.
Okay. There's plenty of stories there, but that'd be a whole nother recording. Yeah. What him and what his grandkids did there. Anyhow, is there anything else that you'd like people to know that we just don't know?
Yeah, more information out of us than you should have.
More information than I should have. Okay. Anybody else want to say anything?
We've lived at the same place since 1951, since we were married, and then, well, it was about 54 maybe when we bought the farm.
1950.
We've lived there ever since.
And you've lived there for, my goodness, that's a long time.
How many children, how many grandchildren?
How many grandchildren do you have?
7.
7 grandchildren. How many great grandchildren?
1.
1. How many grandchildren?
Oh,
You send out cards all the time. That's quite a pile you have to keep up with.
it seems like there's around 50 grandchildren, great-grandchildren. I got one great-great-granddaughter.
1 great-great-granddaughter. Yep, that's right.
And one on the way.
And another one. Do we know this?
We do.
Oh, okay. How many grandchildren?
I've got, I don't know, I've got 13 grandchildren and 13 great-grandchildren, 12 great-grandchildren and 1 great-great-granddaughter.
Excellent. Okay. Well, I am so glad that we could have this small time to talk today. And, the good Lord has given you all so many years, and we thank Him
We've been
as descendants of you, and that we could just thank the good Lord for all the years that He's given us, that you can bless us with your knowledge and wisdom. So, thank you very much. Take care.
Yes.
Okay.
It's wonderful.
Did you find out anything you didn't know?
Yes, it was recording, right, Bryce?
It says it's still recording, so.
I hope I only drew a line in some parts of it.
All right.
I hope you enjoyed that interview that we just had, and I ask that you like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.